It's like they took Rain Man and John Wick and just kind of mushed them together. Folks, Ben Affleck is no stranger to playing superheroes, right? I mean, we've seen him as Daredevil, we've seen him as Batman, we've even seen him as Superman, kind of. But in today's episode, we're going to be talking about a Ben Affleck film in which he is sporting superpowers, just maybe not like you would expect. Today, my friends, we're going to be taking a look back on The Accountant. And specifically, we're going to be talking about how Ben Affleck's character's condition might serve as something of a superpower, which makes him the perfect candidate for this type of story. So, sit back, relax, and let's get messy.
One of the most unusual action heroes to emerge over the last decade or so has to be Ben Affleck's Christian Wolf from The Accountant. Now, let's face it, when people think of accountants, they don't really think action heroes, do they? Indeed, that's one of the trademarks of the series, with Affleck's unassuming-looking wolf deliberately made up to look non-threatening or nerdy, only for him to possess skills that make him an unstoppable badass when push comes to shove. But not only is he nerdy, he's also autistic, and unlike most films that would be made about this condition, it's not presented as some kind of flaw or handicap, but rather an essential part of who he is, both good and bad, making the film a refreshing change of pace from other movies about the condition. With The Accountant 2 on the way, we thought now would be the perfect time to examine why, against all odds, Christian Wolf has quietly become one of the greatest action heroes of the 21st century.
Actuarial sciences are experiencing tremendous growth as well.
Okay.
So The Accountant originally started as a script by Bill Dubuque. Originally a corporate headhunter of all things, he was approached by a producer named Mark Williams to develop the rough idea into a script, which wound up on the 2011 Blacklist, a competition for the best unproduced screenplays in Hollywood. By the time the film came out 5 years later, Dubuque would be well established, having co-written the Robert Downey Jr. drama The Judge, as well as a semi-autobiographical account of his own career as a headhunter called A Family Man. The Accountant came out at an interesting time for Affleck, as he'd re-established himself both as an actor and a director with back-to-back hits, The Town and Argo. He also had a smash hit with Gone Girl and had just been cast as the Caped Crusader in Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman.
I understand.
One can see why The Accountant must have been an irresistible role for Affleck, in that it would not only allow him to flex his action chops he picked up as Batman, but it would also give him a major challenge, with Wolf's autism a primary component of the story.
When I say the name of your employer, you say yes. Practice.
You see, up to then, autism in films was largely portrayed as a disability, while the characters were also often given savant-like expertise, such as Dustin Hoffman's ability to count cards in Rain Man. While some have criticized The Accountant for playing into the same trope, there is a key difference. Wolf's character is not a savant who automatically acquires skills. Rather, he's a man who's used his neurodivergence as an asset, allowing him to train himself in a variety of skills, with the movie positioning him as a forensic accountant for the mob, who makes millions doing this. But he also has a hidden altruistic side, with him using his skills to help those he feels have been victimized out of trouble. He also feed tips about his clients to his contact at the Treasury, while using his deadly training in martial arts and military tactics, both of which he learned with his brother Braxton, who's played in the series by Jon Bernthal, to fight off any physical threats. All this makes Wolf both typical and atypical of the genre. Sure, he fights and shoots like he's John Wick, but he also has a deeply human side, with him aided in part by students at a neurodivergence institute that he funds. They become an especially big part of the sequel. Wolf also struggles with loneliness, with him finding it difficult to have any kind of relationship. Usually Affleck is presented as some kind of super stud in his movies, but Wolf isn't like this, to the extent that there's never even really a hint of romance between him and his female co-star, Anna Kendrick's Dana. However, Wolf is also shown to be extremely loyal, with him regularly feeding information to an agent he admires at the Treasury Department, played by J.K. Simmons, while also avenging the murder of his former mentor, another crooked accountant played by Jeffrey Tambor, who also taught him how to launder money when they did a stint in prison together. This makes him a hero that's easy to root for, with the sequel doubling down on an aspect the first film only dips its toe into, his relationship with his non-autistic brother Braxton, played by Jon Bernthal, who's less of an egghead but just as deadly in combat as he is. In The Accountant, Braxton's true identity is only revealed in the climax, while in the sequel, the two are paired in what's essentially a buddy comedy road trip film, to excellent effect, I might add. Surprisingly, The Accountant was not really a smash hit when it came out in 2016. It did fairly well, with it making $86 million domestically on a $44 million budget, but it was overshadowed by a couple things. One was the fact that Batman v Superman, although considered a disappointment, still made about $800 million worldwide, and Warner Brothers was very keen to put Ben Affleck into another Batman movie, with him tied up for years shooting and reshooting the Justice League. There was also the fact that a movie that he directed, and that came out just a few months after this, called Live by Night, was a massive, massive financial flop, something which I think totally unmoored Affleck, who was also going through a divorce at the time and ended up sadly relapsing into alcoholism. He did reteam with O'Connor to make a great movie called The Way Back, but it barely got released, and any talk of an accountant sequel kind of fell by the wayside as Affleck understandably went into kind of a self-imposed hiatus for a little while. Yet something interesting happened. While worldwide it had made close to $155 million, which made it a profit, it was on DVD and Blu-ray and streaming where the movie tended to kind of turn into a major success. It had earned mixed to negative reviews when it came out, but it also seems like the director, Gavin O'Connor, did make a movie that's incredibly rewatchable, with having the same kind of meat and potatoes vibe you'd find in an action thriller from the 80s or 90s, without it being too frenetic or overwhelming. It's like the antithesis of a Michael Bay action movie, or even one of the John Wick films. As such, it's a movie that you can kind of watch over and over again as comfort viewing. To that end, Affleck, who's now re-emerged fully onto the scene, is back with The Accountant 2, perhaps in the hopes of launching Christian Wolf as a franchise character now that he's done with Batman. Indeed, he's one of the producers on this film, with it coming out through his artist equity, and given the amazing reception that the movie received at its South by Southwest premiere, which I was lucky enough to attend, this could happen, as the sequel really is just as much fun as the first movie was. If anything, it doubles down on all the things that made Christian Wolf so unique as a hero, with the added benefit of making Bernthal's Braxton perhaps his most memorable big screen role to date.
Before we continue with our video, here's a reminder to click the Store tab on any of our JoBlo channels and browse our collection of the latest and freshest designs in our merch store. Go get you some.
Here's hoping that it's another hit, but whatever happens, it can't be denied that Christian Wolf is going to go down in history as one of the most unique action heroes of the 21st century. And you know what? I hope we get a whole bunch more accountant movies because, well, I'd like to see more.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.